welcome Chancellor Pradeep Khosla.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I usually was going to say good afternoon, but good morning. You know, I start by saying it's great to see people in person, which is true. And typically it was the first or the second time, but I think over the last 2 weeks, it's like the 10th time now, I'm having more than 20 people in person. But I'm telling you, it's really great to start having these events in person. So welcome, everybody. Welcome our faculty, our Revelle medalists, and all the guests. Since the very first days of UC San Diego, faculty have been its lifeblood, and we always knew that. And our faculty, just to remind everybody, do more than just teach. They do a great deal of research. They inspire our students, and also they do a great deal of service in the community, and they inspire our community. They really are very community-minded. And they apply their expertise, like I said, to local communities and address the challenges facing a global society. So today, we are honoring 4 people, and I need to say this, they're all trailblazers without exceptions, and their work has helped transform our campus into one of the top universities in the world. I don't know how many of you saw the most recent ranking that came out, where we were the 9th top university, the top 9, we were number 9 in a number of highly cited individuals. And the number of highly cited individuals was just like 2 behind MIT, assuming that's a benchmark. But yeah, we're like 2 behind Berkeley, maybe 3 behind MIT, but nonetheless, what I'm telling you is we should all be proud of what our faculty do. So honors like this are extremely appropriate. And if there's one frustration I have, that we only have the ability to honor a few individuals rather than each and every one of our faculty members who's really deserving of this honor. So our faculty have made a commitment to move theory into practice and back again in a very symbiotic relationship. And they've made a commitment to challenge our students, challenge faculty researchers, look deeper at the world around them, and also challenge the administration, by the way. In a good way. So during Founders Days, during our Founders Day, Founder Celebration, we renew these commitments of challenging each other to really excel and really do as good as we can. And we are also renewing our commitment to be inclusive, to be diverse, and to be equitable in everything we do. And just like our founders and our medalists, we all strive to strengthen our campus to ensure open access to UC San Diego's excellence for generations to come and for the whole broader San Diego community and the California community. Okay, so I'm proud to say that we are and will continue to be the distinctive university that was envisioned at our creation. And this is all because of thanks to you. Your work allows us to be distinctive. We were distinctive the day we were created, and it's amazing that 61 years later, we have maintained that distinctiveness day after day, year after year. And that's just a great testament to the quality of our faculty, quality of our department chairs, our deans, our leadership in general, right? So thank you, everybody, for everything you do. So let me now introduce our Executive Vice Chancellor, who will say a few words, and then we'll come back and get on with the proceedings. Dr. Elizabeth Simmons, please.
Thanks very much, Pradeep. It's really lovely to be here with you all in person again this year for the Revelle Medal Award. The dedication of all of our founding faculty, starting with Roger Revelle, has been really instrumental to making UC San Diego what we are today. The founders launched us into being one of the top public universities, one of the top universities in the world, indeed, in just a few decades, which is really just incredible. And true to our non-tradition, we break barriers every day in unconventional scholarship, but also we're as proudly innovative in education as we are in scholarship. And that's what is part of what makes the campus so special. And we continue to attract a top quality of faculty and researchers from around the world every day. I met several of them yesterday at the ceremonies for the opening of the Design and Innovation Building. Two of our new faculty who are appointed in design, one joint with health sciences and one joint, I think, public health, and one joint with cognitive science. And it was just extraordinary to see what they are doing in design in their fields to bring scholarship to bear on improving people's everyday lives. So we're very privileged, of course, today to have quite a number of our founding faculty with us, and you can recognize them by the blue stoles they're wearing. And one of the, of course, special things about our university is it's not only a recognition for those who were here at the founding of the university, but those who helped found the key academic units that have come into being across time. And that's really very special, showing that our innovation continues to propagate. So there are a couple milestones that I just wanted to mention. One, the Chancellor already mentioned in our having among the highest number of very top-cited researchers in the world. One additional detail, we are the only institution to have one of our faculty members cited in 4 separate areas of intellectual endeavor, and that's Professor Rob Knight, who's appointed everywhere. And so that's really extraordinary. We're also, for the 4th year in a row, #1 among the world's top golden age institutions, as shown by the Times Higher Education designation, and that means the university's founded in the 20 years following 1945. So that's really very special. This year is special as the 40th anniversary of the Stewart Collection, and in particular the 10th anniversary of when Fallen Star was placed on top of the Jacobs building in Jacobs School in Engineering. It's the 35th anniversary of the founding of the Division of Social Sciences and of the Department of Cognitive Sciences, the first Department of Cognitive Science anywhere in the world, and the 55th anniversary of the founding of our Division of Extended Studies. So a banner year on many accounts. And it's also a moment to celebrate some of the campus transformation that's going on and the ways that we are expanding our residential presence, our influence in the influence of arts and design across campus, and the connections to broader San Diego. And just a few examples, last year we opened North Torrey Pines Living and Learning Community, 2,000 more residential opportunities for students, and the revitalized Craft Center in there. Yesterday, we opened the Design and Innovation Building, which will connect to every academic unit across campus. Sunday, the UC San Diego Blue Line Trolley that will connect us deeply to all of San Diego, and in particular to the new UC San Diego at Park and Market building that will start to open in the winter and spring and connect us on many fronts with the community. And when people come take the trolley here, they will walk past the Epstein Family Amphitheater, which is going to be opening by the fall, and they'll walk through campus by the revitalized Mandeville Art Gallery, again reopening in the fall, to the Theater District Living and Learning Community in the southwest of campus, again residential arts and connecting to the deeper community. So a very exciting time to be on campus. And now, before we introduce our medalists, I invite you all to watch this video.
Uncommon. It's an ethos that drives our thinking. It's a habit of going against the grain. Uncommon is a destination. It's a physical place unlike any other. And it's bringing us closer to tomorrow every day. Uncommon means access, freedom, a departure from what you thought you knew. It's a bridge to another world, a day of, did that just happen? It's an influx of ideas and a fusion of cultures. It's a student body that never stands still. Uncommon means action. It's more than big ideas. It's actually moving them forward. Uncommon is prototyping the future, incubating what ifs and why nots. It's taking steps towards the impossible. Undoubtedly, it's where the next big thing will be born. Uncommon means community. It's a hub of thinkers, makers, and mavens, all pursuing a new direction. From the cliffs of La Jolla to the buzz of downtown, Uncommon lives here, and it's happening now.
Amazing, isn't it? One more time. Thank you. In applauding the university, you're applauding yourselves because this is your university. You are this university. Okay, so today we recognize 5 extraordinary faculty who have had a broad and tremendous impact on our campus and on our local and global communities. They are pioneers at the forefront of their fields and excellent ambassadors for our university. The Revelle Medal was initiated to honor distinguished, sustained, and extraordinary service to UC San Diego. It was originally given to a non-campus faculty member, but a few years ago, we distinguished between the 3 medals, the Revelle Chancellor's and UC San Diego Medal. So the Revelle Medal is exclusively kept for honoring our faculty and our emeriti faculty who've had a tremendous impact on their discipline and on UC San Diego and on our standing. So this afternoon, it's my honor to recognize 5 remarkable people who will join the elite ranks of past honorees. So let's start with number 1. It's alphabetical, so don't add much value to the number. It's just making sure because these are competitive faculty. So I don't want the honorees to start saying, oh, I'm better. Okay, so every one of you deserves the honor. So the first one is Richard Attiyeh. Our first medalist is Dick Attiyeh. Wait, I have to say a few things about you, and then the video, and then you. Okay, so Dick joined the fledgling Department of Economics in 1967 and helped build the department into a powerhouse it is today. It's one of the top departments in the country and at UC San Diego. He also served as a Vice Chancellor of Research and Dean of Graduate Studies. And during his tenure, a remarkable 23 new graduate programs were established across campus. So let's take a look at Dick's story, please.
I keep coming back to what I think is the most important story, and that is what a great guy Dick is. He's just a wonderful person. He's not only brilliant, but he's very down to earth.
It comes across as someone very, very warm, very inviting, very knowledgeable, someone who could connect. Maybe people didn't know each other, or people were working in different fields. He could bring them together, and that's a lot of what we try to do at UCSD in our interdisciplinary work.
I can't convey enough how brilliant he is. It's been a long time since I've worn a tie, so this shows how much I like Dick, the fact that he's going to hear about this, that I'm actually wearing a tie.
I was an undergraduate at Williams College, which was very small, and people all got along together. And when I went to graduate school in economics, I went to Yale because one of my advisors at Williams said, you should go to Yale. I said, oh, okay. I had a friend from MIT, and they were very competitive, and I was so glad that I had gone to Yale because there was a sense of community. And when I came here, I had that same feeling.
Dick was, in my opinion, one of the founding fathers of the economics department in the mid to late 60s. And it's continued into a highly regarded, world-renowned, really, program. And then, of course, he went on to university jobs.
He was first Dean of Graduate Studies, and then he became also Vice Chancellor for Research.
The first time I met Dick, this was in the year 1990, And I was motivated to do some very strongly interdisciplinary work. And he gave me such good advice and mentoring, and I was very impressed with how calm he was and how informative he was.
My interaction with students was also very rewarding. I mean, one of the great things about being a professor is teaching students and developing really good relations with them. I enjoyed providing support to individual students and to interacting with them in class and out of class, and that's a very rewarding experience as a professor.
When I came back to UCSD, the economics department, kind of let me teach a couple courses that were in my field. One of them, called Monetary Economics, began in the late 1960s, and it's a course that I took from Dick. I will not tell you the grade I got, but anyway, I'm now teaching the class. So we've come full circle. 40 plus years later, I started teaching the very course that I took from him.
Dick oversaw the establishment of 23 new graduate programs between 1980 and 2006. He also led the establishment of what is now the School of Global Policy and Strategy, Rady School of Management, the SCAD School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. These are all flagship schools. They are highly visible. They brought recognition, visibility to the campus.
Well, one of the things that made me feel really satisfied as Dean of Graduate Studies was how well our programs were ranked nationally.
Is in part responsible for having recruited many of the economists that have become remarkably famous.
So when I was chair, I was able to recruit 2 people who went on to get a Nobel Prize. So I thought that was an accomplishment. And it's helped our department to this day in terms of reputation.
Dick is a brilliant guy who's very down to earth and has been incredibly generous with his time in helping me in my career and in my personal life as well. And he's virtually a second father to me. So I just think the world of the guy.
So I'm very proud of that as a retired faculty member, to be able to say that I was a professor at UCSD.
Okay, our second medalist is Wayne Cornelius. He is a world-renowned expert on immigration policy and Mexican studies. He is the founding director of 2 internationally respected interdisciplinary research centers. He advised presidential candidates Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden on immigration issues. And in 2012, Mexican President Felipe Calderon awarded him Mexico's highest decoration for foreign citizens. Please, let's take a look at his careers.
At UCSD, if it hadn't been for Wayne, the Institute of the Americas might not exist. If it hadn't been for Wayne, the Center for U.S.-Mexican Studies, which became one of the best in the world, especially in the United States, the Center for Comparative Immigration Studies probably wouldn't exist. If it hadn't been for Wayne, our political science department and social sciences probably wouldn't have ranked in the top 10 in the country. He's an institution builder, and he raised something like over $1 million a year, which in the social sciences is astonishing. And so he built something from scratch and that had a big impact around the state and in academia and in public policy. So I think legacy is very, very strong.
Coming to UCSD brought great opportunities to create from scratch my own research center to do cutting-edge work on Mexico.
Both the Center for U.S. Mexican Studies and the Center for Comparative Immigration Studies are both very much the houses that Wayne built. He was one of the very first people to really start taking seriously the point of view of migrants' communities of origin. He was doing that back in the 1970s.
He was one of the most cited comparative politics scholars in the world.
He was one of the first who came to the Mexican rural areas. He inspired anthropologists, sociologists, political scientists, economists to go to the field.
He's really been a one-man hub of research on Mexico and on international migration and brokered connections literally all over the planet.
I think the collaborative fieldwork that I did with my students over a 40-year period is the thing that I'm most proud of. Most of that work was done through the Mexican Migration Field Research and Training Program, which I created at UCSD. That program, the thousands of interviews done by my students, generated a body of knowledge that really advanced our understanding of migration behavior and the settlement process of migrants in the United States. That's knowledge that is highly relevant to public policy. During the 3 presidential campaigns that I advised, beginning with Obama and ending with Joe Biden's, I drew regularly on that body of research to justify my policy proposals because it was simply the best available, most direct evidence to make the case.
As a researcher, Wayne is a champion of what I would call field research in U.S.-Mexican migration. Under his academic leadership, he literally trained hundreds, if not thousands, of students.
Many of them have gone on to do really important work with immigrant communities. Many are immigrants themselves or the children of immigrants, working in law and advocacy, in the academy and government. That kind of force multiplier effect, the fact that there are so many people around the world that are carrying on the work that he began when he started training folks right here on campus.
I'm so proud of Dr. Cornelius, or Profe as we call him. Actually, I wasn't thinking of being a doctor until doing the migration and health research with Profe's program, and I just saw how much migration impacted health. I serve mainly immigrant undocumented patients. It's my passion, it's my life goal, and I even have a nonprofit actually in South San Diego. And Wayne is running through that vein. I mean, he is just the part of the passion and the life force that has helped me really build my whole career. So I'm so grateful to his expertise and his guidance.
Wayne is a creator of collective goods, and those centers he created helped lots of other people. They weren't just for his work. Also, since he's been retired, he continues to do that. So he goes to hospitals and helps patients there who don't speak English. He gets through with their Spanish. He takes his dog there to give doggy care to the people in the hospital. He sings in a choir to make other people feel good. He likes to do good work for other folks. That's his reputation and his style, and it always will be. He's indefatigable and very generous.
Well, the Revelle is a special award because it's the only one that I've received that recognizes my program building and student training activities. Those are activities that consumed the vast majority of my time from 1979 until I retired. And so it's nice to have those particular activities recognized and to know that they're appreciated.
Okay, our next medalist, Peter F. Kavi. Peter is one of the world's foremost experts on the future of communications and information technology markets and policy. As Dean of GPS, before it used to be called IRPS, Global Policy and Strategy, he built one of the world's leading professional schools for international relations and public policy. Peter helped shape the country's international telecom policy, telecom and technology landscape, working for not one, but two White House administrations. And let's now take a look at Peter's story, please.
Peter has helped build UC San Diego into a leading research university and educator of students, and he helped build the political science department. He helped build the School of Global Policy and Strategy. He chaired the committee to develop the new business school. He served as senior vice chancellor for a while. He's been a builder of UC San Diego for a very long time, and you can see his legacy all around us.
I would describe myself as a person who has been adept at taking important new ideas that were emerging and theorizing and seeing how they could enlighten choices about complicated problems in public policy. The center of my attention has always focused around the issues posed in public policy by changing science and technology. And I saw possibilities for how we could drive the social sciences, science, engineering, and medical capabilities of UCSD together in new ways. The first opportunity to really act on that in a big way was in the creation of the Rady School of Management. That moment of creation around something which was how do management schools start to deal with the management of technology led to, when I became the dean of the School of Global Policy and Strategy, starting to imagine in my mind how the excellence of the school could be translated into a deeper tie to the science and engineering community on campus. We raised the bar for professional training in our fields. I can tell you that the GPS core curriculum is now much more the model that you see for other professional schools in our field.
The school is in great shape in terms of the powerhouse faculty. It's in great shape in terms of funding. Student applications are growing. So I feel like we're in a really strong position to continue.
Peter is a leader by action. I mean, he has this commanding presence, and I think we all respect that.
Well, Peter has had an impact on both my business side with Qualcomm by providing excellent advice, but also on the philanthropic side. He has been involved with a number of organizations that he has contributed to and that have gotten our interest, and we've been able to make some contributions.
I've been a long-time member of the La Jolla Playhouse Board, and Peter has agreed to sit on the board now at my urging. So I'm very happy about that because he always makes great contributions wherever he is.
His impact on communications and his leveling out of the costs of making telephone and now internet calls between countries. And he was very much at the forefront of coming up with a strategy for encouraging other countries to cooperate.
I see Peter as a dedicated public servant, but a public servant to the people in all the world. He is really committed to showing that people all over our planet can actually work together efficiently and collaboratively and improve human welfare.
The title Revelle Medal means a lot to me because when I came as a junior professor to UCSD, it so happened that early in my career, my office was put across the hall from Roger Revelle, who was then an emeritus professor. And actually, Roger probably shaped a good deal of my professional career from that advice. He told me one day that he considered himself to be a mediocre technical scientist, but an extremely good analyst of how the potentials opened by new theories could inform problem solving in the world. He looked at me and he said, "You know, that's really what you're doing. You shouldn't be ashamed to be making that the center of your attention." In my subsequent work, both at the university as a scholar and then in government in 2 presidential administrations, also in my role as an administrator at UCSD, that's kind of how I viewed my mission.
Next medalist is Dr. Barbara Parker. Dr. Parker started her career as a resident and fellow at UC San Diego. So she went on to serve as Medical Director of Oncology Services and Senior Deputy Director of Cancer Medicine at the Moores Cancer Center. Her legacy is marked by her mentorship and collaboration with colleagues at UC San Diego Health and by the gratitude of more than 20,000 of her patients. So let's take a look at Barbara's story.
I first met Dr. Barbara Parker in 1985 when we were both fellows together. And even then, she knew more medicine than anyone else, including me. So we knew that she was going to be a great academic physician.
I've lived in San Diego for almost 25 years. And even before I came to work at UC San Diego Health, the name Barbara Parker was already legendary in the community. Barbara had a leadership role at Moores Cancer Center, and she was actually responsible for the clinical operations of Moores Cancer Center. So it was her role to mentor staff and faculty.
When you talk about trainees and mentoring, I consider myself very lucky to have been mentored and trained by Barbara. I've learned so much from her.
So Barbara Parker really transformed the way that we provide cancer care at UC San Diego.
She's so well respected. She's done so much for the university and most importantly for her patients.
So it's a very gratifying feeling to look at UC San Diego Health and know that I was a part of the process in building the enterprise and, importantly, building the cancer enterprise within the overall healthcare enterprise.
She recognized the need, she set up the infrastructure, she collaborates across the campus with great surgeons and radiation oncologists. So we would not have the breast cancer program here at UC San Diego without Barbara Parker.
Well, my personality is that of a nurturer. I grew up in a family where family and community were all important, as well as work ethic. And I think I've approached my career in a similar way. I really love the partnering process with my patients and their families. So compassionate cancer care has been something that I've always strived to deliver.
Barbara is incredibly compassionate. She would sit down with her patients and explain their situation, answer every question that she could. And her commitment to her patients didn't stop after treatment, but all the way through the course of their lives.
Patient care has really been the central role in my career. And at UCSD, I've been able to learn from some of the best, incorporate that into my own style, and inform that cancer care by research and transmit that in the education arena. It's healing for patients and also is therapeutic for their families.
Whenever someone needed an appointment, the answer was yes. Whenever someone needed an extra measure of support because they were hospitalized, the answer was yes. And that has really evolved into our culture at UC San Diego Health and in the Moores Cancer Center.
Barbara has helped cure so many of my friends and neighbors of breast cancer. They are alive because of her, and they are supported because of her, and they feel treasured by UC San Diego Health because that's how Barbara treats her patients.
So my wife Nancy was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was 49 years old. Nancy was fortunate to have Dr. Ann Wallace, one of our incredibly talented surgeons, care for her, and Dr. Barbara Parker as her medical oncologist. And what ended up being surgery, chemotherapy, a long medical therapy route, but to a state of being disease-free, thank God. But really, Barbara's caring is what Nancy needed and appreciated, and I think has brought her to her place of current health.
With respect to breast cancer, again, Barbara was cutting edge. She took care of the sickest of the sick. That's why when you go around the community and you talk about Barbara Parker, so many people know who she is, because that's the legacy of the work that she did.
Well, I see my legacy in multiple dimensions. I see my legacy personally in terms of my impact on an individual patient and his or her family. I see my legacy on trainees, who then exponentially, yes, with subsequent generations, impact many more, hundreds and thousands of patients.
And she's trained a lot of people who watched her and admire her and have learned from her. So I personally have immense respect for her, and I'd like to thank her and congratulate her.
And I can't celebrate Barbara without acknowledging the care of my wife, Nancy, that she helped lead. And the fact that I would get emotional in her celebration is, I'm sure, the way that most of Barbara's friends and patients feel about her. What an impact she's had at UC San Diego, and her impact is continuing. We feel it every day in the cancer community. So thank you, Barbara Parker.
Our next and final medalist is Dr. Robert Sullivan. Robert is the founding dean of the Rady School of Management. Bob, as he's known, was instrumental in building the school's philanthropic foundation and its reputation for excellence. He led the recruitment of Rady's world-class faculty and launched innovation-focused MBA programs for full-time students and working professionals. So let's take a look at Bob's story.
The phenomenal thing that Dean Sullivan did was to build not just a business school, but a Research One premier business school at a premier university. This is not something that's done generally in the last several decades, very few times. So he has impacted not only UC San Diego, but the business community here and in San Diego to have an incredible vehicle for training our leaders of San Diego and around the world.
When the school was created on condition that the school received no resources, and there were no committed resources from the outside. So the Rady School was created from nothing. So this is part of the, as I say, the miracle on the mesa of the Rady School, that it not only survived, it thrived.
Dean Sullivan was really a pioneer and a trailblazer, and he took considerable risk coming to UCSD and starting up from scratch, because no major university had started a business school for a couple of decades. I think that's what really attracted him to the job, the possibility of coming up with a brand new curriculum and then building from scratch.
The commitment that was made early on in 2003 and beyond was that it would only exist if it was committed to excellence, and its excellence in particular was a focus on science, technology, and innovation. That's what separated the Rady School from any other business school. We began with trying to hire faculty. We were committed to hiring the very best faculty. Students we selected had to be extraordinary. So I used to do 5 or 6 nights a week for the first 5 years or so. I would go to any reception that anybody would put on to sell. And what I would sell is San Diego has good business schools. It doesn't need another good business school. What it needs is something that's extraordinary, that really creates an impact on the community. People with advanced degrees in science and technology will give them the network and the inspiration and the tools to help them translate their innovation to companies, and we'll be there for them. That got people excited because that's what this community is all about. So the first class, about 37% of that class had PhDs and MD degrees. Many of them were faculty at UCSD from health science. Over 57% had at least a master's degree when they entered. These individuals came in because they had a particular interest and focus. They came from these disciplines that were so important to UC San Diego. And in particular, what they wanted to do was to take their ideas, to innovate, translate, create companies, create jobs, and have an impact. Long term, for the Rady School, it will be judged by the impact of its alumni.
We're still very young and have under 3,000 alums. Many of our alums have been very successful. And actually, one thing that they've started recently is a way to donate liquid stocks from all these companies they developed. When the liquidity event, the company is sold, those funds will come to the Rady School. So Bob built in this, innovation entrepreneurship, this belief of giving back, and frankly, he brought to UC San Diego campus the incredible generosity of Evelyn and Ernest Rady.
If it had not been for Ernest Rady in January of 2004, when he made the naming commitment for the Rady School, there wouldn't be a school. The school would have basically run out of resources and it would have disappeared. And then he's been a partner for 17 or 18 years in everything that the school has done.
Bob is one of those people who gets along with everybody. And that's no exception, from the chancellor to the deans of the other schools, including the advisory committee, by the way, which we put together. And he, uses whatever resources he can to accomplish his objective, which is to educate students and get them started in a career.
As a fundraiser, as an outstanding recruiter of academic talent, and a person who established very strong ties from day one with the business community. He also, always with an eye towards expansion and growth.
Even towards the end, he says, we need another building. So, and we can use the parking lot. He said, why don't you go to bat and see if we can get the parking lot for us. So he was always looking to advance the school. He is really a good human being, and I'm glad to have him as part of my life and now part of my legacy when I'm not here.
Rady School is here, and it wasn't here before. And the fact that it's not only here, it's successful, it embraces the campus, and it's embraced by the campus. It embraces the community, and it's embraced by the community. And I just think the best is yet to come.
Okay, one more time for all the medalists, please. We just say thank you to each and every one of you for taking an hour or two from your afternoon and coming here to honor our Revelle medalists. Let's get together outside. Everybody's welcome outside for a little reception, and personally give a chance to congratulate the medalists. So thank you very much. Reception outside. Okay, one more thing. All the past medalists and the current medalists, if you can stand here for a quick photo, and then everybody else have the reception. And then